Okay, let's start with a number, 80%. Just let that sink in for a moment. I mean, that's a massive slice of anything, right?
All right, now what if I told you that this huge number, 80%, is completely tied to this tiny one, 7.4%?
Yeah, I know. It sounds like some kind of brain teaser. But believe it or not, cracking this riddle is the key to understanding one of the biggest questions in Indian sport. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now.
So, welcome. Today we are diving deep and decoding what we're calling Indian football's hidden DNA. This is all about a really data-heavy look at where our talent actually comes from and what that tells us about the path forward.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about talent hotbeds. Because to really get a grip on Indian football, we have to start with this universal idea of how top-tier athletes are made. And it doesn't matter what sport or what country you're talking about.
Right, and this core idea is called a talent cluster. And look, this isn't some kind of magic. It's just a specific, small geographical area, like a town or a region, that for some reason produces way more top athletes than you'd expect. It's like the perfect recipe, you know? A mix of local culture, easy access to play, and a few role models to look up to.
And this isn't just a theory. This happens all over the world. I mean, think about it. Why are so many of the world's best distance runners from Kenya? How did just a few places in Canada produce almost all their professional ice hockey players? Or look at France's football team. Talent isn't spread out like butter on toast. It's clumped together in these amazing hotbeds.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for us. We see the exact same thing right here in India. You've got Haryana, which is just a wrestling machine. Chennai is basically a factory for chess grandmasters. And of course, Mumbai and its incredible cricket culture. So yeah, these clusters, they are absolutely real and they are super, super powerful.
So, the big question is, if this works for all those other sports, what happens when we point this lens at Indian football? Well, that's what's next. We're going to map out India's football DNA. And once you look at the data, wow, it is crystal clear. A huge, huge chunk of all the professional minutes played in Indian football comes from just a few states. You've got Manipur way out in front, then Mizoram, West Bengal, Punjab. These aren't just important states. They are the absolute engines of Indian football.
But hold on, it gets even crazier. We can zoom in even further. And this right here is the answer to that riddle from the start. Remember the 80% and the 7.4%? Well, here it is. A mind-blowing 80% of all professional football minutes comes from just 35 districts. And get this, those districts only make up 7.4% of India's population. I mean, the talent concentration is just off the charts. So we should probably name these powerhouses, right? We're talking about the Imphal Valley in Manipur, the Aizawl area in Mizoram, the whole Kolkata region, North Punjab, including Chandigarh, and South Goa. These specific places are the ones that are consistently, year after year, pumping talent into our leagues. Okay, so this all sounds pretty great, doesn't it? We've basically got a treasure map showing us exactly where the football talent is. But, and this is a big but, here comes the twist. There's a hidden problem, a massive one, called the Great Play Deficit. And this is why we're not where we want to be on the world stage.
You have to ask, right? If we know exactly where our talent is coming from, down to the district, then why isn't India playing in the World Cup? Why are we still fighting to be a top team in Asia? It just doesn't add up.
And the answer, according to all this analysis, is pretty blunt. It's not a talent problem. We have the talent. The real issue is something called a play deficit. And the really shocking part, this problem is happening even in our best of the best talent hotbeds.
Let's make this real for a second. To really understand what this play deficit feels like, just picture two kids. One is a talented young player growing up in Goa, one of our top clusters. The other is a kid the same age growing up in a place like Porto in Portugal, a global football factory. And this chart just lays it bare. It's staggering. By the time that kid from Goa turns 20, they've probably played less than 200 competitive matches. The kid from Porto, over 550. That's not just a small difference. That is nearly 3 times the game time, 3 times the learning, 3 times the development. It's a massive, massive gap. So yeah, that gap looks pretty scary, but it's not impossible to close. And that brings us to the most important part, the solution. How do we start winning this catch-up game?
Okay, and this is the absolute key takeaway. We have to completely change how we think about this problem. The argument is that India's catch-up game isn't India versus Brazil or India versus France. It's Goa versus Porto.
We have to fight this battle cluster by cluster. We stop looking at it as one giant, impossible national problem and start breaking it down into smaller, focused, and totally winnable local fights.
Suddenly, the goal becomes super clear, right? We need to build the same kind of environment, tons of games, year-round competition that you see in those global hotbeds, but we build it right here in our hotbeds. We don't have to invent a whole new car, we just need to seriously upgrade the engine we've already got.
So what's the game plan? It really comes down to 3 big moves. First, access. Just make it super easy for kids to play in lots and lots of competitive games. Second, pathways. We need to beef up our local leagues so our best players don't have to leave to get better. And third, create a real year-round ecosystem, where the school leagues, the club leagues, everything, it all works together, just get kids playing more.
And that's where we land. We know where the talent is hiding in plain sight. We know the problem isn't the players. It's a huge lack of game time. And we have a clear, focused strategy to fix it. So the final question for all of us is, if we can actually do this, if we can fix this play deficit in each of our hotbeds, could this finally be the key that unlocks the sleeping giant of Indian football?